Welcome, everybody, to the Bitcoin update for Wednesday, January 22nd. Now, there are some alternative scenarios I have to discuss because the movement off the low does not look that impulsive, which leads me to believe we may be still mid-correction. So if you are in from the lows, you might want to consider raising your stops to the last pivot. So we'll just discuss this right now. If it does hold, and this was a running flat here for our wave 2, have this as wave 1 and 2, 3, 4, pulled our fibs off that last pivot. It does line up very nicely between 143 and 149 to top out in a green wave 5 if that last pivot holds. Otherwise, obviously, there will be adjustments made if this price action extends out in time. Now, my expectation here, if we are in a fourth wave, is we're either in a triangle, which extends out, or a flat, which can be a very quick 5-wave move to the downside, which would scare everybody. I'll talk about that on the smaller time frames, but it can literally be like this and then recover, like very quick. Reason being is this A wave within that flat was very complex, and if we get an impulse to the downside, it will scare the crap out of everybody. But it will be a buying opportunity. Reason being is this didn't top in a 5-wave move to the upside, so it's more likely corrective. So I would be expecting upside after, and obviously we expect a flat in a wave 4. So we'll discuss that on the smaller time frames. I got to look at what that would mean for the altcoins, because if this does extend out and money rotates into alts, we should still hold pretty good against Bitcoin. But I'm looking at Bitcoin dominance as well. It's a very unclear pattern, but I'll talk about that in a moment here. But everything looks good for us still within a fourth wave. It's just whether it's from this pivot or not, right? I've had this on for a very long time, the wave 4 in time versus wave 2. It's just an extra indicator. We didn't quite hit the 1-to-1 for our low, and our 1.618 is all the way out here on February the 1st. So we can extend here as either a triangle, as a running triangle, or as that fast impulse to the downside to complete a wave C. Now, obviously, we can just continue to the upside, but I just want to show you that on the smaller time frames, those slight concerns. Because what I wanted to see overnight here, it was very nice the way this played out. We had our WXY here, and then we had a 5-wave move to the upside, and we found support on after we broke through that trend line. So after this ABC, we wanted to see continuation to the upside. And we don't quite have that yet. Even if I go down to the 15-minute, I'm trying to get an impulse out of this, and it really does not look the greatest. The only way I would consider that an impulse would be 1, 2. Yeah, like this, 3, 4, 5. And that's a very deep wave 4. If we do have a running flat for a wave 2, we're fine with alternation there as a guideline. But this wave 4 compared to this wave 2, you can see it looks like it's most likely corrective. So that has me a little bit concerned, which leads this to a potential diagonal and a 1-2, 1-2. And we're about to get a big wave 3. And the way I would count this is actually as a diagonal, as an ABC1, ABC2, and this would be a expanding diagonal ABC, like that. So it would be a expanded diagonal for our wave 1 to the downside within our wave C. So what I'm doing is taking a hedge, because I do have a lot of longs on my alts, and I'm putting my stop at that the high up here at 107,292. It's just an insurance policy in case we get this 5-wave move to the downside. So the alternate way I'd count this since we have a 5-wave move to the upside and then a move up here, all we would do is, this is a 5-3-5, ABC. This is our X, so as a W wave and an ABC, WXY for our B wave. And if we go on linear scale, we hit the 618 extension. Everything's on point there. So I would just relabel that as a WXY. That's if we get follow through today. We might get a sell-off. Now, I'm not trying to put the fear of God into everybody, but just be aware this is a very ugly potential impulse to the upside. It can hold, but my suggestion, at least what I'm doing, is hedging with a stop at this high. And any longs, I would suggest closing at this last pivot at 100,000. So that's what I am considering here. Yeah, we held below the 786. It's just this structure. We can absolutely recover and have a very ugly impulse, but I'm just going to hedge because I have so many alts long right now. I'm in about 6 positions, so I'd like to at least protect those in case we get this 5-wave move to the downside. And let's pull our fibs on that. And it would most likely happen very slow like it is now, leading diagonal, and then a 1-2, and it should collapse very quickly as a third of a third. So if we are on log scale and this is our C wave as a wave 1 and 2, we'd look for our third around 92, 97 for our fourth. And look right around our 87K mark we were looking for a long time ago. Interesting, right? So keep that in mind. That would be an expanded flat, and that would scare the crap out of everybody, but we would be looking for a long after that. Alternately, this is what we were looking forever, as you remember, and it is lining up, and this would be a 3-3-5, just complex. Double zigzag for our A, double zigzag for our B, simple 5 waves down. The other alternative here is if our A wave was the complex wave. It seems unlikely, but triangle is option 2, and that's where we'd come to between the 786 and the 618 retracement of the last wave to the downside, make our A, B, C, D, E, and then our fourth actually starts from over here. But that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to hedge short. I'm not going to close my longs yet, but I am tightening up stops to invalidation levels. And looking at Bitcoin dominance here. Still considering a few different things. So I do have this trend line that broke a long time ago. It hasn't gotten back above. I am considering the fact that we might just go sideways here as a potential triangle, A, B, C, D, E, and then we get a 1-to-1 eventually of this A, B, and C. That might be a wave 1 within an ending diagonal, but I mean, all we have here is 3s since that 5-wave move to the downside. I am expecting another 5-wave move to the downside, but from where is unclear. So just keep that in mind. And the DXY has broken down. Unclear structure yet. Looks like a leading diagonal is getting ready to pan out here. Another move down and a bounce, and we can eventually move to the downside, but I need more price action on that, right? But that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. I am hedging short right now. All right. See you in the Discord.